You're watching New Car Spin. I'm your host, Brian Grant, and today, this is going to be an interesting interview, or review, sorry. This thing's so personal. This is the Acura RDX with SH-AWD. Actually, that stands for Super Handling All-Wheel Drive. And let me tell you the first thing. So, I took this car down to Austin over the weekend. Today is Monday. We had this hellacious storm in Dallas. Lots of downed trees, carports, cars crushed, cranes, things, deaths. So this is a weird interview. It's a weird review because it's been a busy weekend. So what I'll tell you first is when I was in Austin, family, friends, they didn't care what I was driving because it was an Acura. And that's the most unfortunate thing because this is one of the best crossovers I have driven this year. So there's the Mazda CX-5, there's the Volkswagen Tiguan, and I do like the CX-5 because it has more power than an Audi. But the Tiguan is also nice, but what I said in that review was I wish there was a Golf R style Tiguan. Well, here behind me is an Acura RDX, which when I first got it for 24 hours, I thought it was the MDX because this is larger than the RDX you remember before. The previous RDX was based on the Honda Civic platform. This is an entirely new platform, not shared with the Honda Civic. And you'll see inside it has a few things that are similar to other Honda items like the Pilot and the Passport and the Ridgeline. However, this is a CUV and it's very roomy and it's an RDX. So the first thing you notice when you get to the vehicle, this is also the A-spec, and we'll go over that in a second. First thing is these tailpipes. Look at the massive tailpipes on this vehicle. This is insanely large, and it's on both sides, so it's flanked, and this is a really cool look. In this color, it's really cool. By the way, this review is kind of pointless because this is a 2019, and you can get the 2020s right now. It's actually not pointless at all because the only difference between the 2019 and the 2020 is on the 2020 you can get a new metallic white paint, even though this here is a metallic white paint. You'll see here, I also pointed out on the Mazda CX-9 is like there's hardly any sort of a bumper in this design. The CX-9 is a little bit more extreme, but this has some of a ledge to it. And I've been noticing this in new CUVs and SUVs because I saw a Mercedes E60 or MLE, GLE, whatever they're calling it these days, the 63 Coupe SUV, and something had hit it, and the entire tailgate was just slammed. So without much of a bumper, I think your insurance claims and your body work and all that repairs are going to be catastrophically higher. And I think back in the day there was a consumer review company that would test like impact on 5-mile-an-hour things like cones and poles and stuff. I hope these designs do well. I'm not going to say anything else. I still do like it. Now for the RDX, it is just a 2-row 5-passenger. It's not a 3-row. You'd have to get the MDX for that. And I always mix those two up, and I think that's Acura's problem because their designs have finally changed and this thing looks much better than it used to. That is a good looking car. I don't care what you say. It's dirty because I did a road trip in it from Dallas to Austin, but the grille, just everything about it, the headlights, these LED lights. Sorry for the wind, guys. Okay, I like this design a lot. By the way, there's a 4-cylinder there. I'll tell you about the power in a second. You cannot get a V6. It has front-wheel drive as standard. It's like $2,000 to get the all-wheel drive, which is the only way to go. And I've read that the 4-cylinder in here is driven with a timing chain, not a timing belt. So that should tell you an idea of how robust this vehicle is planned out to be. This is the A-spec. So with A-spec, if I can even get this so bright out, there we go. Bam. Set this super goodbye. Okay, so with the A-spec you get more of a sporty exterior, and you have to have 2 other packages to get it in this sort of flavor. So you have a technology package and something else. Did you notice that? I went to the back door, and the back door has keyless entry recognition. Not a lot of SUVs have that, or CUVs. It's only front door only. But because it's on the rear, it means you can be in a parking spot, and you can walk up with your hands full, and the door will still unlock. You don't have to go to the front or hit the key or whatever. Like, it's actually a very well thought out solution. All right, it's getting windy now. The rear seat is very roomy. I have plenty of room in here. I am pretty much 6 feet tall, sitting behind my arrangement of the front seat, and you'll see that there's headroom. It's not perfect, but we do have a huge panoramic sunroof in here, so I like that a lot. And the seat designs are really cool. It seems like I'm in like a Star Wars fighter, like the TIE fighter or whatever it is. Like, the design in here is just amazing. We don't have sunshades though. That's kind of okay. We do have tinted windows. We have a little clip in here for our dry cleaning. Let's put that back up. We have 3D sound. I'll get to that in a second. It's just an incredible SUV, and I'll tell you the price when I get up front. Let's show you the trunk. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's clear. You'll see too, like, this red leather I like. It has like a suede style cloth in here, and they're all vented seats. They're not heated in the rear, unless, of course. Yeah, no heated seats in the rear. And of course two USB jacks. You'll see piping. We have piping in here. That's a nice touch. It's usually reserved for like Range Rovers and things. So we have a good amount of detail in here. And then if you look at the trunk, boom, plenty of room. Power trunk raises up really high, way over my head. You can see I have plenty of space here. Some SUVs don't go this high. And of course, you can hold it to set the height. Power close. And in the back, okay, we have a storage unit down below. We have more storage here. This is just a bag of a DVD player I'm going to donate, so just ignore that. We have our handles to lower the seats from here, and they do fold flat. Very, very roomy, very nice. This is an excellent CUV because it's very daily and it's very capable and it drives fantastically. So I said earlier, like the Tiguan Golf R version, this is almost like a Civic Type R, even though this isn't based on the Civic platform anymore. It's like a Civic Type R SUV. It's really nice. So let's go ahead and get in. Stainless steel pedal caps. You'll see the ELS Studio 3D stereo speaker grill here. Now, I've never heard of ELS. However, when I turned it on, I heard them loud and clear. This is the loudest, sharpest, tightest bass in any vehicle this price range I've ever experienced. We have our A-spec door sills, full lumbar support, power seats. So I obviously had a long drive last night, so excuse the mess, but I definitely used this vehicle. I love the suede touch here. If you got the advanced package, I think this is going to be a wood trim. So this is not the luxury version, this is more the sporty version. Let's close this door. It has interesting touches in here. You get in the vehicle without starting it, and of course you have the animation in the middle. We have our cruise control and our trip computer and stereo controls. We have this thing called apps, which is basically takes you between the different media inputs. Parking distance, electric brake hold. It's all pretty much the same stuff you're going to get in all vehicles now. Memory seats, but you'll notice here the design of the door handle and that trim piece and how it goes around and the way the dash kind of wraps. That's very Audi A7 like. That's very interesting because this car is like so upscale in here, and then we get to this point. Now at first it's like, wow, what is this really cool thing? And then I realized, oh, that's from the Honda Pilot. And I didn't like it in the Honda Pilot, but here it seems to be a bit better because it's not taking up any real estate that you need. Everything else you need is down here. And you have your sliding tray, which is really good if you want to just like set stuff down or write, if you're a road warrior. And then we have this pad that you'll see is a touchpad, and you immediately think, oh great, it's just like the Lexus. But it's not. It's so much better than what Lexus has done, and I'll explain that. This is going to be a long review, but I hope you like it. By the way, please like and subscribe and share with your friends and hit the bell, all that good stuff, because it allows me to get you more reviews and more vehicles and just get you content. So I like to get content. I like to do this for you guys. Nobody pays me to do it. And I'm not an influencer. I'm an actual journalist, so I appreciate your patronage. Based on all of that, though, I think we have heated and cooled seats, and they're auto, so you can set them to auto for front passenger, the right side passenger. And yeah, we have another tray down here, so I put my cigar humidor down there, and it's a pretty big pass through to the other side. Obviously, it's really cool. And we have a sliding center armrest with good contrast stitching. And if you set it back and up, you know that you get another storage bin. There's no power in there, but there is, there is power and USB right here. And you can stick a USB stick in there with media files that you can play through this stereo. So that'll be a nice touch too. I just noticed the track and next and back button are up here. The volume is here, but I've been using it on the steering wheel all the time. So what I'm going to do is start the vehicle up. Sometimes what happens when you fire the vehicle up is the airbag mechanisms trigger and stuff happens, and I realize that that's what's happening to set my audio out of sync. So if my audio becomes out of sync, I'm sorry. I'm doing these videos uncut, unedited, just raw, real time, and I hope you appreciate that. I'm not wasting your time. I'm not wasting my time. I'm not wasting anybody's time. We're just getting it done. So let's start this thing up. Foot on the brake, tap the button. Let's try that again. Foot on the brake, tap the button. Fires up, get our animation. ELS, which is the stereo system. I can't demo it because obviously YouTube flags music. All right. Maintenance is due soon because I drove it a lot. Let's click OK. Trip computer. Average MPG is 20.7. That's your worst case scenario. We, as journalists, we sit here, we idle, we check things out, we drive, and it takes a while to get acquainted with a car. I have a car for a week. I drive it around. I tell you what I think. So it drives great. I'll show you that. The not so great thing is I was actually on a road trip with Derek Shaky from There Will Be Cars. He was actually driving this massive Ford truck, and he was hauling my other car down to Austin. So we were on the phone a couple times, like, you know, coordinating fuel stops and things like that. So I noticed when I was on the phone with him, and I'm like, oh, what's my range? You know, I want to see what my range is, and we can figure out which fuel stop to go to. When you have the phone on and you're connected to the vehicle and on a call, it shows up here in this display, and it kind of looks like just a standard answer hang up kind of thing. I'm not on the call right now, so I can't show you. However, when you're on the call, you cannot get out of that screen. So I'm not able to get back to this trip computer and tell you what my range is. I can't say, oh, look, I got 93 miles left. I couldn't see it. So I had to say, well, I'll have to call you back, which is the weirdest thing in the world. It's not like it moved the phone display over to this screen, although you can. I mean, you have a bunch of menus here to get through. I'll explain that one second. I was very flabbergasted that I couldn't tell him my range. So I think Acura, I think you need to fix that. I need to be able to clear out of the menu to get to my range. And I tried it, I couldn't do it. And when you're driving, it's just, 80 miles an hour down the freeway. It's kind of hard to concentrate at that point. I do have paddle shifters, and that's really cool. And before I get to all the driving aspect, which is the best part of this vehicle, we'll talk about this screen. So this screen is obviously not a touch screen. However, you have this touch pad, and this is the only way to interact with it. And now you may look at it and go, oh, great, they screwed this car up big time because Lexus has it, and I hate it in the Lexus, blah, 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 blah. You know I do, actually. But what happens is you can run your finger along here. Let's see if I can get a bad... Okay, that shot's hopefully panned out enough. As you run your finger along, it kind of highlights it. But you'll notice what they did here was, wherever I touch on the pad is wherever it immediately highlights on the screen. So it's kind of like a remote screen, and this is what they wanted to emphasize with me. And I was like, yeah, I get it, guys, because it's the first thing I freaking noticed. But if I want to go to navigation on the top left, I just hit the top left here. And that's just my finger touching it. But if I push down, it goes to navigation. Navigation has a weak point in it. I can't seem to find all the fuel stations I wanted. And when I was doing a search for something on this pad, it would lock up on the UI. So I'm not sure if this is a pre-production problem or if this is actually a problem you have. So please leave a comment below if you're experiencing the same issue. But we have a way to get around the menu just by hovering or slightly touching the pad here. And wherever I'm on the pad is wherever I am on the screen. So it's really nice. Some of the other vehicles out there, manufacturers, it's like wherever you put your finger down, then you have to like hunt for where you are. It's really stupid. This one, very intuitive. The only downside here is with the entry of the let's go back. It's the entry of the points of interest. There we go. We'll go to find, and let's just say we want to find a place called Loves, which is a truck stop. You have to draw a letter or number on this pad. So we're gonna go. Let's see if I can zoom out here. L. That's a bad L. I'm not left-handed, and that's another thing. They're assuming you are right-handed. Okay, so we'll go back. We'll go L, O, V, E, S. Okay, so it seems to be pretty quick this time, but a while back it did lock up on me, and the biggest problem here is now it shows Loves. I don't know what happened that last time. You'll see here, I'm looking at a list of places I want to go, right? It doesn't tell me how far away it is. So I don't know which, and I can't sort it by anything. So I don't know which one I need to be at. Obviously, these three are the same address. But if I was to scroll, and this is really cool, you just flick it, and it scrolls to the next page. I don't know if this one is in the right direction versus this one. Like, I don't know. Oh, see, there we go, 22 miles away. So if you have a long address, and that's going to be the case in a lot of these, I had a whole first page with a long address. I didn't know which one was closer. Obviously, it's going to be listed that way, but which direction am I going to go in, right? Like, they could be 22 in a radius. It could be like I go north or go south. I don't know where I am. So it doesn't give me anything other than a go. And, you know, I can live with that, but it's just a little complicated to first try and figure out. And I'm still figuring it out after 7 days, which is, you know, weird because I'm a former user interface developer. Anyway, the rest of the vehicle looks great. Let's reset my gimbal. The rest of the vehicle looks great. That's the huge sunroof. The visibility out the back right rear is not that good. In fact, that piece right there with that speaker, sometimes out of the corner of my eye reflects light and looks like a vehicle. That's okay though, because I have blind spot monitoring built in. Now, let's get to the best part, how it drives. So you probably noticed this big knob here. This is the drive modes. So you can turn this knob and you can get into different modes: Sport Plus, Sport, Comfort, right? And then Snow. Snow is interesting. If you want to know, I'll basically tell you cannot use cruise control in snow mode, and I believe it does adjust the way it puts the power down, obviously. And the power, by the way, let me get outside and just illustrate that for you, because it is all-wheel drive. You can't lock the car, by the way, when it's running if you have the key out. So if you're just going to leave people inside and then go run into the post office or something, I can't lock it. All-wheel drive. So it's 70% to the front and 30% to the rear. However, when you put the power down and when it detects acceleration and things like that, I know it's windy, sorry, it will set up to 70 to the rear and move 30 to the front. So it'll adjust the power back and forth. All right. Now to the best part, driving it. These gauges are cool. They're kind of like silver reflective faces on the back. And as you get in a tunnel and stuff, let me just buckle my belt. As you get into a tunnel, it's just black, so it's red on black. It looks really good. All right, we're gonna put it in sport for a second. So sport is really nice because if I use sport, get out and get back in, it's still in sport mode, and you can see which mode it is right there. And I don't really use comfort. Sport's the best way to go. Now, this is a 10-speed automatic. No CVT nonsense. 10-speed. And you think, great, it's going to be boring. It's for fuel efficiency. And the funny thing is, it's not. Acura has a 10-speed in here because of the torque curve of this vehicle and the power. It's just always on tap. This thing just constantly accelerates. It's not brutal like a Civic Type R, but it's on tap and it's just there. And I love that. So this 10-speed is fantastic because it just keeps going. And it's not linear, it's not a wave, it's just like, it's like a microwave. It's on every gear change. And it sounds great. So it's fun to get up to 60 and get into like 5th gear. By the way, it won't get into it'll be 8th gear and 6th gear. So 60 miles an hour, it's in 8th gear, but it won't even go to 9th or 10th gear at 60. So that should tell you that they're not looking for efficiency here. They're not. They're looking for performance, and it works so well. So let's drive this. I'm going to show you the sticker. All right. Sorry for taking all this time to get to this point. Focus. All right, white diamond, 2019. So 2020 will have a different white. $45,600 is the base price. Look at that warranty. Oh yeah. $46,595. Okay, but this one has the tech package and the A-spec package. Now you can also get one called the Advance, and then you have a different option. But look at the power. This is standard on all of them. 272 horsepower, more than the Audi. 10-speed automatic, and it's not a CVT. And we have all-wheel drive. So the all-wheel drive is designated right there in the name. SH, super handling, all-wheel drive. Fuel economy, not great, but this is a performance vehicle. Think about it like that. You don't buy a luxury vehicle for fuel efficiency. Great stats, great spec, nice car. Let's drive it. All right, so this goes there. My one complaint is this vent doesn't point all the way down, so it's actually down now, but the air comes right up here, which is like almost to my face. So it's not low enough, and I'm sure if you were shorter, you would have a problem with this vent not being low enough. So they need to fix that. Let's let the traffic go by here. I'm going to turn this fan down. Let's do that. Okay, now you can hear more of me. And we're going to close this power shade too. This is a nice big sunroof. It opens up unlike the new Range Rover Evoque. This is as big as the Range Rover Evoque. It's just really cool. And it's a solid sunblock. So unlike some of the Germans out there that have like a screen that is kind of like allows light to emit, we don't here. Translucent. Anyway, we put it in drive. Focus. Wow, it focuses when I tell it to. That's it. You put it in drive, door locks. We have our auto stop start button here. I always hit that. You'll see it's designated by that down there. And electric brake, which automatically disengages anyway. We're clear there. Okay, so sport mode. Just keep this in mind. So it's going to have a little bit of an enhanced engine and exhaust sound. Now I hear the turbo between every gear change, which is really nice, but the ride quality in here is superb.
This car feels so solid and so planted, and the power, the way it puts down power is excellent. I mean, it's the same system that you would notice in the Honda Pilot Elite, but it feels good in here. I got it on the super handling all-wheel drive screen, so you can kind of see where it's throwing the power down. All right, so we are at a stop, and I'm gonna floor it in sport mode. Oh, that is awesome. So it picks up and moves, and it just has this snarly, grunty, like almost like a Civic Type R. And it's amazing because I know the Civic Type R as a little boy racer look to it. And if you're a professional, if maybe you're a young attorney and you want something that looks good and you want something that you can still afford, look at this down tree, Jesus. Anyway, this car, start here. This thing is amazing at 47 grand. So much car for the money, even though we don't have folding power mirrors. We don't have a few things, but you know what? I don't care. I'd almost say too that it's so well built in here that Acura is at the point now where they can make their own Bentley competitor. Like they should make their own, they should make a vehicle just to compete with Bentley. I mean, Kia's doing it with the K900 and didn't do so well because they went for value, which is always a double-edged sword. But Acura, dude, if Acura made a Bentley competitor, that'd be awesome. I don't know we have Infiniti and Lexus and all those different brands for those other brands, but Acura has never done it. Acura isn't even at that level. They should be. They almost could be. All right, so we're going to go into Sport Plus. We do have kind of a speed limit around here. All right, so in Sport Plus, we have gauges here, turbo, and like a G meter, which I've never looked at because I've been busy looking at the road. However, you'd think that's the end of it, and like, oh yeah, that's okay. There is some of a downfall to this whole thing being a 10-speed, and that is if he gets on the freeway. Okay, I'm gonna pass this truck, right? I'm gonna put my foot down, and pay attention. Foot down. Did you see that? Did you see that? Well, you can back this video up and try it again. It downshifted and then it downshifted. So it like skipped a couple of gears and then it skipped a couple of gears again. That's the downside to a 10-speed. There's a lot of shifting to go on when you really want that power. This is hard to do with one hand, but we'll go for it. And we're gonna yield here. Okay, so you think, yeah, okay, it handles great. There's a little bit of wheel squeal and all that. Yeah, you're right, but I didn't put it in sport mode. Now, I'm not saying it's as fast as a Civic Type R, but for a CUV, this is bonkers. I mean, it's not even a Civic Type R variant. It's just a normal Acura. This is the engine that comes in all of these RDX models. This A-spec doesn't mean this thing's been totally decked out with some sportiness. So there's a lot of room. Okay, let's floor it and go. See the delay? So yeah, there's a delay to downshift. So as long as you can anticipate it, and that, ooh, it's downshifting and holding gears on its own because it's in sport mode. See, if I took it out and just put it in regular drive, it won't necessarily be as aggressive. So when you put it in Sport Plus and then hit the drive button there, it's like track mode. It's very, very surreal to be in a CUV that's this high off the ground. And I've driven the Honda Civic Type R, and this isn't on the Civic platform anymore. It's just like, this thing is cool. I really dig this CUV. I love the Mazda CX-5, and if that's too small for you, and if you can afford the extra $7 grand between a CX-5 Signature and this A-spec, you can get this A-spec. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Ah, it just sounds so good. And of course, you can turn this down. You can go into Sport and then Comfort. And it doesn't default to Comfort. If you were in Sport, you're back in Sport when you get in the vehicle, which I love. That's perfect. that's it. I mean, this thing is a freaking hoot. I mean, I love it. By the way, here's the glove box. It is lockable. It's pretty big. It's got some space in there. And the stereo, nice and loud and clear. The loudest I've ever heard. I can Bluetooth to it. I got my Pandora going. You can listen to 21 Pilots, Dua Lipa, Halsey, Billie Eilish, and then the 1975, Daft Punk. Everything in here sounds excellent. It is great. It's like a concert in here. And it's the 3D stereo, which I don't exactly know why 3D stereo exists. What was wrong with traditional stereo, but it sounds really good. I do have to get back to the office, and it is a crazy Monday because we had a lot of power issues, and a lot of trees have been downed. I woke up this morning to the sound of helicopters and chainsaws, so I feel very manly today. It's one hell of a way to wake up. And then of course you look around and you go, holy crap, like we were hit pretty hard. You'll see in a moment what I'm talking about. Now we're getting into what I'm talking about. I don't usually drive like a crazy madman in the regular streets. I only do it near the freeway because it's kind of where you're supposed to do it. I like this too. This binnacle, the design of it. It's just like I'm sitting low, and then I can kind of see it. But it's the way it comes out. It's very cool. I just feel like I am totally in a cockpit. I don't know if I can't really show you on the camera how it feels because of the lighting. But the lighting and the way that design is, and maybe you can see it like that, it's cool. It's just a nice look. And everything in here looks good. Some people think this is a problem, but I like this design because it's all within reach, and it's very easy to control. There's no flickety button. I don't have to tap to get through different modes like I would in an Audi. I can just pretty much have direct control. I do have to turn it a couple times if I wanted to get to different modes, but it's still very obvious and very purposeful. Let's just say that. This thing feels really good through corners. I would say, like, I know this one doesn't have four-wheel steering, but it feels very much like it does. It just has a great rear trailing arm, and I believe, at least I hope it does. I hope I quoted that correctly. Yeah, it's a nice setup. It drives great, and it does feel big in here. It's not tiny at all. It's much bigger than a CX-5. Here's the destroyed neighborhood. The storm that ripped through here yesterday at like 1:30 just took a lot of stuff out. It's kind of sad. I drove up here. I got here at 1:30 this morning, and I didn't see any of this at night because obviously these headlights are great, but I wasn't really focused on all the stuff that had happened here on Sunday. Look at this, all these trees. Like, this place got hit hard. This guy got lucky. Look at this. Look at the tree branch. Missed his car. Yeah. But even in Sport Plus, let's just put it in comfort mode. Okay, now we're just driving cool. Now the noise goes away, which is kind of, I'm really liking the artificial engine exhaust sound pumped into the vehicles, because you can modulate that, and you don't have to sound like a complete asshat outside the vehicle. you can entertain yourself rather than make yourself look like a complete clown in front of everybody. Yeah, there was some pretty bad storming. It was like a 15-minute storm, apparently. We just missed it by 12 hours. But it's, yeah, it's a crazy place. Look at that damage right there. That guy, they lost a carport and cars. Camaro. It's not good. Even this place. See, the storm hit the street we were on before. Like you never know. Like you can just cross the street and go, holy smokes! Like, was that a tornado that came through here? Nope. That was just a thunderstorm, a Texas-sized thunderstorm. Luckily, there was no hail. That would be just like icing on the cake for this place. As far as insurance claim, that would be nuts. Anyway. You can see the way it's distributing power, even in comfort mode. The acceleration in this vehicle is excellent. The handling is excellent. Comfort level, the seats are excellent. You just get in, you feel like you fit and you belong. You don't have to make any adjustments. And I know this is a really long video, but I want you to really, really understand that I think people aren't giving Acura a fair shake anymore because they just dismiss them because they were ugly. But this thing looks good, and just try and understand that you can live with this. And the best part is the dynamic of driving it. You know, you're so engaged and you're so comfortable and you're in so much control, and there's so much space and utility in here. It's doing a lot of things for you. On a daily basis. It's like a best friend I've never had. It's so loyal, and it has so much going for it that I have no real complaints. Sure, the navigation and the air vent and the phone thing, but that's very minimal. I mean, that's so nitpicky, and you know I can nitpick. That is the least of your concerns. Like, there's nothing else that Acura can do to improve this car. And I looked it over really, really well, looking for any fault. And that's all I could find. And I also told you they can build their own Bentley if they really should. So that's how impressive this RDX is. You get in it and you go, why aren't they building like a super competitor to a supercar or a luxury car? I mean, there's the NSX, which they've done, but where's that super luxury? Because I get the sense in here that it exists. Like they must be working on something, but you didn't hear that from me. Feel like I've been rambling now, so I'm going to end it here. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. Drive an RDX. Go check it out. This is the A-spec. I love it. I would have it over my Durango. I mean, my Durango I got for a specific purpose, but I wouldn't mind if I had a job where I commute. This would be fun. This would keep it entertaining. I would really enjoy that. Auto brake, all that stuff going on. It's got this guy making it right. Well, I hope you heard this engine. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. And if you don't, go to the Acura dealer. I'm telling you, man. I don't get paid for these things. I only hope I get enough views to offset all the work. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. I get the Mazda 3 sedan today, actually. So I will see you later. Thanks for watching.